Come on in, everybody, for tonight's edition of Mavericks on Deck here from Athletic Park as we go over pregame what we have in store tonight. And tonight, it's one of the best matchups you're going to see in the regular season, at least, as the Saskatoon Berries visit Athletic Park for the first time this season wearing those all-purple uniforms. And last time they were here, they found success, their first ever taste of success within the playoffs. Wayne, can they replicate that tonight along with the hot start that they've had this season?
Well, certainly when you look at the beginning of the season, they're the premier team this year in the WCBL. Their record of 15-2 represents that, certainly. And they've played a lot of tough teams with Saskatoon. They beat up on us a little bit in Saskatoon. They've beaten up on Regina. So I think, they're already proven that they're a team to be reckoned with this year. And if you look at the stats, statistically speaking, they're number one in the league in hitting. In a lot of categories, they're near the top of the league in pitching. And I think just if you went on those two things alone, it would be really hard for them to not come out as one of the top seeds this year.
Yeah, and that's why they're number one right now. They've hardly lost any games. But so far, the Medicine Hat Mavericks have put up a very good fight as well this season. They're currently second in the division, just trailing behind the Saskatoon Berries, and they've looked really solid this year. But it isn't without a couple of bumps, and one occurring last night, and that was in Swift Current. It started off real well, Wayne, but Mavericks, they started to fall as the game progressed, and the pitching really got within their way.
Well, we kind of talked about it the night before when they were playing Brooks. We said no lead is too big and no lead is too small, or no lead is too big either way, when they're up or when they're behind. And that kind of proved to be what happened last night in Swift Current. They were up big time in that game and managed to hang on for an 11-12 or 13-12 victory. So hopefully the Mavs can settle down in a lot of those areas, the pitching department especially. And, I think we're in for a good game tonight. It's a beautiful night here in Medicine Hat. And we haven't seen Saskatoon this year. We keep watching them with their win after win after win. But we're 9 games undefeated here at home. So let's hope we can continue that.
Yeah, we're going to get a taste of two of the best, and it's going to be a challenge for the Berries. They've knocked teams left and right all year long, but when you come into Medicine Hat, it is a different feel. It's been a different story for every other team, and good teams at that. Okotoks losing 2 games here. Moose Jaw losing a game here earlier this season. The Berries could fall victim to what is a powerful attack from the Mavericks, but it will start on the mound, and with Max Hudlow on the mound for the first time at home tonight, we'll see if he can get his first win of the season under his belt.
Well, if this game was played on paper, Saskatoon would walk away with an easy victory, but it's played on the field, and let's hope that the Mavericks can rise to the occasion tonight.
And before we get to any play, we will get a word from our official network, Flow Sports, and then we'll be back to see what is about to unfold here tonight on the WCBL Game of the Week, supposedly, and we're happy to be a part of it up here, and hopefully you're going to be happy with what you get to see take place tonight. We will be right back. It is Thursday night as we welcome you into Athletic Park in Medicine Hat, Alberta for the best possible matchup that you could put together and a rematch of the 2024 WCBL first round as the Saskatoon Berries, they return to Athletic Park for the first time this season for a not a true doubleheader, but back-to-back games. They'll be here today and they'll be here tomorrow as well. But they walk into a place that has not been easy to win in for opposing teams. The Mavericks, a perfect 9-0 at home this season, and they look to push that streak up to 10 against an opponent who is as good as any other. The title favorites early in the season are the Berries, and this game has all the workings of a playoff-like atmosphere. My name is Truman Bartman, and alongside me, as always, is Wayne Slosher here on Flow Sports for our WCBL Game of the Night, Game of the Week. Whatever it is, this game will look to live up to the expectations that have been put on it. And Wayne, both these teams living up to the expectations that they had coming into this season.
Yeah, you got two teams with the highest win total so far in the WCBL, and we've heard a lot about Saskatoon Berries. And now we get a chance to see them, and I think if you look at the statistics, they're every bit as good as what their statistics say because of their one-loss record.
And let's see who's led them to such great statistics so far this season. Wayne, take us through who they've got on the field tonight.
I'll take you through the lineup. Carter Beck, we all know all about him. One of those players we couldn't get out last year. He's leading off. He's in center field. Nathan Houston is at shortstop. Abiam Medina is the DH. Mason Roll is at third base. Jalen Freeman in right field. Balin Sorensen will do the catching. Evan Janner is in left field. Cooper Westland is at second base. Turner Zadunich is at first base. And for the hometown Medicine Hat Mavs, Jeremy Freeman will be leading off. He's in center field. Yuzi Uzawa is a DH. Tyler Venesti is at third base. Carter Roth at second base. Back in the lineup is Johnny Volcano. He'll be at short. Aaron Volcano is in right field. Evan Morrison at first base. Jamel Chabot is the catcher. And Micah Dvorak is in left field. The umpires for tonight's game, Mike Richards is the crew chief. He'll be doing home plate. Brian Stair is at first base, and Travis Oberg will be at third base.
And for the first time this season, we have a collision with the national anthem.
Yes.
Usually we have it timed up, but they are ready to go. Fired out of a cannon was our in-house O Canada anthem singer tonight. And let's look at who the Mavs have on the mound. And in our pregame show, we already talked about him. But that is Max Hudlow making his first start at home. The second-year Mav has pitched twice so far this season, has one loss, no wins. He's got a 9.52 ERA, much higher than he would like, and only 4 strikeouts on his year so far. But he is a strikeout pitcher. He can find the middle of the zone more often than not. And JT is relying on him to have a big game tonight after what was a disappointing outing from most of his pitchers last night. And really the only two pitchers that looked solid within that appearance were Luis Diaz and Diego Centella. You would assume that they will not be available here tonight. They weren't even supposed to be used last night in a game against Swift, but it got away from the Mavs, and they found themselves just winning by 1 in the end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they had to pitch last night again because they pitched recently, I think, against Brooks, if I'm not mistaken, the night before. But you can't wait for tomorrow's win if you don't win today. So let's take that victory and look at today as a new slate.
And that victory that they got against Brooks was not an easy one. It started off real close for most of the game, and it wasn't until a big inning from the Mavs where they broke things open. But it was a lot closer than they would have expected early on, and I think that's what we see with the Mavs a lot. Close games for really the first 5 innings.
Yeah, and then when they do get up, they have a hard time hanging on. So it's kind of one of those things where you're never sure that they've got the victory in hand, and we've seen lots of comebacks this year and lots of leads given up.
And this will be a hard team if the Mavs do get in the lead at any point tonight to keep down. Okotoks, we saw with them, they were a hard team to keep down. The Berries offer that same sort of presence. One player that will not show his presence in the lineup tonight is Ethan Murdoch. He has been tearing it up once again. The former All-Star leads the WCBL in home runs this year with 5, and he had himself quite a week. We were surprised he wasn't named Player of the Week.
Yeah, he had, I believe, 3 home runs in 6 games and 8 RBIs. And, I was very shocked that he wasn't the Player of the Week.
So with him
also,
out,
Menard is not in the lineup either.
Ethan Menard, a very big-time presence as well. We saw him in the playoffs last year. It was him and Beck. Those were their big 2 names. The first pitch from Hudlow is off, and it is a strike. And Carter Beck, get to see him for the first time this year. Of course, for lots of the Berries fans out there, you've seen a lot of him, and you've probably enjoyed his presence.
Yeah, he hits the ball to all fields, and quite often he'll hit it over the field, over the fence as well.
Beck playing NCAA Division I baseball, as he spent this season not only with a couple of his Berry teammates, but he spent it at Indiana State, and we'll see a couple of other Indiana State members in the lineup tonight. Here comes the throw from Hudlow. He's going to miss this time, and it's 2-2.
I think Max tried that backdoor curveball or backdoor slider and just missed.
So Hudlow will go again, collecting into the glove, waiting here, stepping forward, and this one's going to be batted over to short. Throw over to first. Morrison's going to grab it, and that is our first out of tonight's ball game, courtesy of Johnny Volcano. Good to see him back in the lineup, Wayne. For those who are unaware of Johnny's game, give them a little insight.
Well, when we first saw Johnny a couple of years ago, he was very raw. Shortstop was not kind to him. And hitting was very sporadic. And boy, in 3 years have we seen him mature, and love watching him play.
When they used to hand out the Gold Glove Awards in the WCBL, he claimed one. It's interesting. They took a year off of handing those out last year. We don't know the reason. But he does have something on the mantle in terms of legacy. Here's Hudlow stepping forward. This one poked off the end of the bat. And it might cross a bunch of Mavericks up, but it is grabbed onto by Aaron Volcano.
Good off-speed pitch from Hudlow. Had Houston out front.
And we didn't talk much about Nathan Houston and the presence that he was near the top of the MVP conversation in the first half of last season, playing for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And to see a guy like that be added to a Berries squad that was already really good, that's a dangerous player. He's a great contact hitter and hits for great average.
Well, here's the top average hitter for the Berries, batting .425.
And that's Abiam Medina. Medina takes a strike. It's not the most filled-in crowd tonight, but there are bodies still making their way into the Athletic Park stands. It's going to be low, and Medina will wait on it.
Yeah, I think we'll get close to 1,000 here tonight. The weather is not looking good, is it, for the upcoming weekend? But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a second. We don't get rain here a lot. If you listen to our broadcast often, it's become redundant talking about how the weather just goes around Athletic Park and the city of Medicine Hat as well. But come this weekend, I don't know if there's a way that we can avoid it. This one is going to bounce, and I believe it hit Medina there, so he'll have first base.
Yeah, that hit him on the right heel.
So with Medina on, it'll bring up Mason Roll, who's batting in the cleanup spot, playing third base tonight.
You could see the disgust on Hudlow as soon as it hit Medina. He threw his arms in the air. He knew that he had pulled that pitch.
Hudlow sends this one down the pipe, and he's going to hit for a strike. Jamel Chabot behind the plate catching for Hudlow tonight. We haven't seen him here at Athletic Park in a bit. We've seen both Babiuk and King moving in and out. King was behind the plate for the last Mavs home game against his former team, the Brooks Bombers.
Lots of curveballs from Hudlow, and he's throwing them in for strikes. If you're going to throw another one, I would tend to bounce this one or make sure it's low.
One's going to miss.
Yeah, he came with a fastball there. Good idea. Let's throw him off.
Hudlow with the head tilt. Here comes the throw. It's a little bit high for his liking. Was trying to get it down. And waiting on it there with good patience is Mason Roll. Count is 2-all. 2 out, 1 on the base path here. Hudlow couldn't clip the plate with that one.
Yeah, just missed. After being up 0-2, Roll has worked his way back into a full count.
And this has been the kryptonite for the Mavericks. It's been those walks. Hudlow looking to avoid issuing a free pass here. Here comes the throw. Couldn't get it down, and he does just that. So there's 2 on now for the Berries with Jalen Freeman coming to the plate. Saw Freeman hit in the 1 spot a lot last year for the Berries. And he's not the only Jay Freeman in this game. Jeremy Freeman Jr., who's on the Mavericks, also here. And both playing in the outfield as well.
Well, Freeman can run, and he's got a good eye at the plate. He's only struck out 11 times compared to 12 walks. So he's going to make Hudlow throw strikes.
That one is going to hit on the far half of the plate. Hudlow from Century College. They went a long way within their college playoffs, made it all the way to the finals. They were the 1 seed and then ended up losing a shocking one. Here's the throw from Hudlow. This one going to be grounded over to short. Volcano gets it over to Morrison, and that will do it for the top of the first inning. A couple of scary moments there for Hudlow, but he and his defense make the best of it and get out of it. They'll allow for the bats to take a turn here for the first time in this game when we come back after a word from Igniter Tickets. So from one Jay Freeman to another, Jeremy Freeman Jr. comes up to the plate, a guy who started his year at the bottom of the Mavericks batting order, as he takes a strike there from Matthias Tronson. Tronson's pitched here before. I don't know if he's faced Freeman Jr. yet. At least he doesn't have a great idea of what Freeman Jr. is all about. And it's something that I don't even think the Mavericks knew at the start of this season with how low he was batting. Here comes the throw from Tronson, and this one is kicked out over into right foul territory.
Freeman has slowly crept up with his batting average. He's usually good for a hit or two a game. And when he gets on, he likes to run.
Here's the pitch from Tronson, a swing and a foul tip there, keeping Freeman alive. And it's the same three at the top of the order here for the Mavericks, as you say Uzawa will bat behind Freeman, and then Tyler Vanesti, who DH'd a little bit this year, but he's back to third base, and we assume that he'll play there for most of the season.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had the left side of our infield together with Vanesti and Volcano.
Freeman waits on that one as it's high, and it's a full count. Ball's going to get by Tronson and will trickle into the infield dirt.
Two off-speed pitches from Tronston that were quite high.
And Tronston's going to walk Freeman here.
Yeah, Freeman was down 1-2 and came back, earned the walk.
And let's take a little bit of a closer look at what Matthias Tronson's all about. No wins on the year, just like Hudlow. A 5.87 ERA. I'm sure he will look to improve that not only tonight but through the rest of the season. And 12 strikeouts for the second-year Barry. Spent some time with them last year as well.
And I like the ratio of 12 strikeouts to only 4 walks, a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. And that's in 7 1/3 innings.
Uzawa's going to take the first pitch for a strike. We'll keep our eyes on Freeman here as well, as Wayne mentioned. Ooh, that one at the head of Uzawa. Freeman will go off and will get into second without a trace.
Yeah, that off-speed pitch coming out of Tronston's hand just seems to be slipping out of his hand. And that one was very high.
Tronson's pitched 7 2 innings so far this year in those 2 games that he's been in.
Corners are in for Saskatoon. They're looking to Uzawa to bunt.
Uzawa will shimmy out of the way, and wouldn't be surprised if the Berries watched the Mavericks tape recently, because they know with a guy on second, the Mavs like to go to that.
Well, and now the first baseman's backed up, and so is the third baseman.
Another low pitch here from Tronson. Count is 3-1, no outs so far. The Mavs looking for their first hit as well. We're looking for our first hit in this game. And Uzawa almost gets hit again. Freeman will go off to third. He'll take a quick look over to home plate, and that ball was recovered, so he'll sit still. So the Mavericks have 2 on here for Tyler Vanesti. And I'm not sure if this is how you plan for the first inning to go against the Saskatoon Berries, but having Tyler Vanesti up with 2 on is a dreamlike scenario, and a scenario we've seen play out in the Mavericks' favor many times.
Well, right now he's got to be a little bit selective, because Tronston is having a hard time finding the strike zone with anything except a fastball. So if I'm Vanesti, I'm looking fastball.
Here's a pitch from Tronston, and it's over to first base. They might get two here. That throw is offline. Freeman's going to come in to score. The ball's going to squirt into center field. Uzawa's on his way. Here comes the throw, and Yusei is out. A beautiful tag from behind his back, and I'm not sure how Sorensen did it, but he gets Uzawa. Yusei's a fast player. And that's just a perfect throw and a perfect tag.
Well, the first thing is he was trying to score from first base on a ball that just got beyond the grass. But I thought that the catcher, Sorensen, did a great job of decoying Usawa. He stood there like the ball wasn't coming. And then as soon as the ball arrived, he quickly put the tag on. And Usawa couldn't see that the ball was coming.
So the Mavericks still get one, and they have Tyler Vanesti on second. It could have been a double play there for the Berries, but that throw is off. And anytime you have a first baseman going back towards second, it's a tricky play.
The other thing is, well, I'll talk about it as soon as we get a break here.
There's a throw from Tronson, a high swing from Roth.
Freeman did not break to come home on that ground ball to the first baseman until after the ball got by the second baseman on the throw. And when you're at third, you got to go on that because you don't want to be standing on third when a double play occurs. That team is giving up a run for the double play, and Freeman has got to go as soon as the ball is hit on the ground.
Tronson will gather here. He's behind against Carter Roth, the guy that can make you pay in this sort of situation, and he's going to pound one down over into left field. Does it have enough? It's off the A&W sign. It'll stay in, but Tyler Vanesti will come in to score, and into second base sliding is Carter Roth. So the Mavs have a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning. So Tronson, not the kind of start he was looking for. And now he'll face Johnny Volcano, who's lower in the lineup than he usually is, batting in the 5 spot. We've seen him in spots 4-1 this year. Actually, I don't think he's batted leadoff, but 4-2 more so. Johnny will take that for a strike, and it might take a minute or two for Volcano to get back into his rhythm, but he's such a good player that it's not going to take him a game or two, whereas in the past for a young guy, that might be the case.
Well, he doesn't like to wait with the bat on his shoulder.
It's going to be fouled off. Yeah, one of his tendencies that we've picked up on is swinging at that first pitch. And also, anytime he gets a high fastball, he loves to swing at those as well.
Yeah, and you are right. It's going to take him a couple of games. Game speed is not the same as BP.
Volcano, a swing and a miss as he's down on strikes, and that's the second out in this inning and the first strikeout tonight for Matthias Tronson. So from one Volcano to another, it is Aaron Volcano who comes up to bat. Tied for the team lead in home runs with a plethora of players. Tyler Vanesti also in that group. And Evan Morrison, after 2 last night in Swift, joins the crew as well. Ooh, that one right up at the hands as Volcano didn't swing.
I think we have to throw Micah Dvorak in.
Micah Dvorak's in the mix as well. He had another last night too. Tronson will step off. Roth was causing some commotion in the background. Here's the throw now. High to Aaron Volcano. Wayne, I know we haven't seen Johnny play in a while, but what are some differences that you have noticed between Aaron and Johnny as players?
Well, Aaron's got more power. I think he's a little calmer at the plate. Johnny likes to get after it right away. And we don't see Johnny walk very often, but Aaron, he'll take a walk. A little bit more selective, I would say, at the plate.
Are there any similarities?
I can't think of any, to tell you the truth.
A couple that come off the top of my head are no batting gloves, and in big moments, if the name Volcano is on the back of your jersey, it's a good sign. Both of them perform when the lights are brightest and the most pressure is put on. Volcano's going to snap this one over to left. It's going to be close, and it's going to go foul. Good call there from the home plate umpire. 20/20 vision to see it all the way down there.
Just got out a little bit out front on that, but that's what you want to do when the count is 3-1. You want to be looking for that fastball cookie that you can get the barrel out front on.
Full count here for Aaron Volcano, so still a chance for him to do some damage with the bat. Still a chance for him to reach.
So will they go back to a full count fastball, or will they go with his second pitch, which he hasn't had a lot of success with?
Here comes the throw, and it's going to be fouled back by Volcano.
Volcano is right on Tronson's pitches. I think Tronson needs to throw him a curveball here if he wants to get him.
Volcano sends this one over into center field. This will easily score Roth, and it might be 3 for Volcano as he hurries around second base. Volcano over to third. He's in. An RBI triple for Aaron Volcano. Wow, what a first inning it's been for the Mavericks. 3 runs on the board, but it feels like 30 with how they've played. Now there'll be a talk here as Andrew Albers, former big leaguer himself, comes out to the mound to talk with Tronson.
Well, just imagine if Usawa wouldn't have got thrown out at home. That'd be 1 less out and 1 more run. But let's be happy with a crooked number the way it is.
Evan Morrison will wait for his first at-bat. And great speed there from Volcano as well. He probably had the triple in his back pocket the whole way, but the way he came around second, there was no hesitation.
Yeah, he put it in another gear. And that's what Aaron can do. He's got that little bit of calmness up there, and when he saw that pitch out over the plate, he just went with it into the gap in right center.
And he's quickly becoming a leader in the clubhouse as well. His brother Johnny has been touted as one of the most vocal leaders. And I'm not sure what Aaron's leadership style is, but I think a tough guy to compete with would be his brother Johnny, at least for how outwardly Johnny's leadership is. Morrison will tip this one off the end of the wood.
Yeah, you don't have to be a vocal leader to be a leader, and Aaron, I think, is just going to lead by example. There is action in the Barry's bullpen.
Morrison's going to swing and miss there. They're going to say that he tipped it.
Yeah, he fouled it back.
One guy that won't be warming up for the Berries in the bullpen this year is Tyler Davis. He was a go-to guy last year, and he's not with the squad this year. High one to Morrison as he'll wait. And also maybe their most valuable starter not with the team again, and that was Wyatt Wytrek, who really until the end of the season was the leading candidate for pitcher of the year, and really until the last moment where he didn't pitch very much, he was in the driver's seat. And speaking of the driver's seat, the Mavs are in it after 1. 3 big runs on the board as they hop out in front of the best team in the WCBL. But there's lots of baseball to be played, and there's no business counting the Berries out. They'll have work to do, but we know it's very possible from a crew like them. So Balin Sorensen saving a run in the last inning. He'll look to claim a run for his team come this one as we're in the top of the second. First pitch to Sorensen will bounce off the dirt and then off the glove of Jamel Chabot and wide left.
Yeah, that was a great decoy play by Sorensen to put the tag on Uzawa.
Is that more so a veteran move, or is that something that all catchers are trying to do?
Yeah, that was a veteran move.
It is his second year here with the Berries. This one won't fall in, and it's 3 straight balls here from Max Hudlow. He'll take a second and recollect himself. We're not sure how many pitchers the Mavs are going to have available tonight. As Hudlow throws a strike there, so the longer Hudlow goes, the better JT and company will be feeling.
Yeah, it's always nice if your starter can go 6, 7 innings. We don't see that very often.
I believe there was only 2 complete games all of last season. There wasn't very many. We'll get an official number for you. But it does not happen, and part of that is because a lot of pitchers in the league, they're already on pitch counts coming from university, and these teams also owe a service back to the universities or colleges or wherever these players are coming from to make sure that they return healthy and still in stable condition. That's one of the things that the WCBL in general prioritizes is health. Here's a bunt being thrown down into the glove of Hudlow over to first, and a good sprint down there from Janner, who almost got there in time, but it will be 1 out for the Berries, but they do have Sorensen over on second, so beginning to chip away at this short Mavericks lead are Saskatoon. Cooper Westland, who's playing second base tonight, will come in, and he had one go off his glove earlier, and that's how the Mavericks parade to the plate began. Turner Zdunich on deck. This one is going to be grabbed by Chabot. He had to dive down low. And if the last name Zdunich, if I'm saying it right, is familiar to you, it's because his brother Tucker played for the Okotoks Dogs last year. I believe he was a pitcher, and he was selected to the All-Star game for them. So a different type of player is Turner. He's listed on our roster as a pitcher, but not in that role tonight. He's over at first. It's another beauty of the WCBL. You can have so many guys play so many different positions. Looking at Ian Heck in Weyburn, he's a pitcher and just about every other position. He's the most Otani-like that we have. And even Corey Waters this year for the Berries has been primarily a hitter, but last year they used him as a pitcher for the most part. Here's the throw from Hudlow. That'll clip for a strike. Here's the throw from Max, and that's back-to-back in the same location.
I like that he's coming in with the fastball more. I think Saskatoon were starting to wait for his curveball because he's been throwing so many of them. I would come back with another fastball. Curveball. Oh, just missed.
It was awfully close. Good job by Chabot there to hold it up, and he almost forced the umpire's hand.
Good take by Westland as well. It was one of those pitches just about too close to take.
This one's popped up into the air. Should be playable for Volcano. And we'll see if the runner's going to go. He will not, and probably smart to do so, as that one right into the glove of Vanesti over at third. And 2 down here for the Berries as they bring Turner Zdunich to the plate for the first time. Carter Beck is waiting on deck, and Zadunic gets on. It's a dangerous guy to have with runners, or, well, potentially runners in scoring position. They have one right now in that spot. So Hudlow will step back on the mound with 2 out. First pitch is for a ball. And Wayne, we talked about complete games, pitchers going all the way. Only 5 pitchers had complete games last season. One player had 2. That was Danny Crabtree from the Regina Red Sox. He was an all-star, one of the better pitchers in the league last year. But Matt Whitney, who's now with the Saskatoon Berries, he had a complete game when he was playing for the Fort Mac Giants last season.
Yeah, and I believe he's, 3-0 this year?
He's on fire. Yeah, if there is an ace in this staff, he would be most people's choice for that title. Pitch is going to miss from Hudlow. Yeah, for the Berries, they have lots of returning pitchers from last year. They do have some new faces, several new faces from around the league, which is the polar opposite from the Mavericks as Hudlow gets a swing and a chase.
Great location for that curveball, down and in under the hands.
For Medicine Hat, it's just Hudlow, who we see now, and Ryan Dexter, the only 2 returning pitchers. Last season in the turnover, they only got 1 back. It was just Adam Golby who found himself donning the red and white once again. That throw is going to miss from Hudlow, so it's another full count. He's throwing a lot of pitches, lots of full counts early on. Here's a throw from Hudlow. Swing and a miss. A big K from Max Hudlow as he downs Zadunic and also sends Beck back to the bench. So we will see him to start the top of the third. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we will head to the bottom of the second where the Mavs get a couple more swings in. So it's been a little bit since Jamel Chabot has been up to bat, but he finds himself in here against Matthias Tronson, who I'm sure would have wished a better first for himself. That pitch is going to miss.
Oh, that didn't miss by much.
Tronson, quick movement here as he gets right back to it, and that time he does hit. Speaking of hit, the Mavericks did a lot of that last year when they first saw Saskatoon. It was their first ever road trip for the Berries, and Medicine Hat laid the hammer on them. They were dominant in the first two, and that changed towards the end of the season. They played them in the last two matchups of the year, and Saskatoon won both. And then the playoffs started. These two were matched up against each other once again, and without a generational performance, so to say, from Josh Landry in game two. As this one pops up, it's going to go to short. There won't be a play as Chabot's over to first. That ball was scorched, so the Mavericks will have one on. But going back to what I was saying about the playoffs last year, yeah, it took a heroic effort from Josh Landry. It came back here. Mavericks even had a lead in part of that game three, but it was a big inning towards the end from the Berries. They took over and they ran with it. Unfortunately,
that's Adam Beeman warming up, number 17, throwing down in the Berries bullpen.
Beeman was with them for that run last year. And for the Berries, they did find themselves disappointed a series later as they lost to the Moose Jaw Miller Express.
That's a team that's been coming on lately, Moose Jaw.
Yeah, big win against Regina yesterday. That those two get closer in the East Division standings.
Dvorak, good hitters count, 2-0. And Dvorak's been a very clutch hitter for the Mavs last year and this year.
Here comes the throw. It's high to Dvorak.
Coach Reed at third base is trying to tell Chabot to get a bigger lead at first. It's only got a step and a half, if that. Reed is signaling for him to get off the base.
Dvorak won't go. Instead, he will take a trip down to first base. 2 on for the Mavs, nobody out. And now they have the top of their order with Jeremy Freeman Jr. This is a sweet spot here for Med Hat. It's also maybe a spot that the Berries haven't been in recently, trailing and having a team that can build as quickly as the Mavericks do. It puts some pressure on you that they haven't experienced early on in this young WCBL season. That pitch clips for a strike. Tronson a long wait here. Here comes the throw. Freeman showed bunt there for a moment. He retracted it.
That must have missed low. It looked like it was right over the plate, but a little bit low. So Beeman, he's ready to come in, I think, if they need him.
That's another count that Tronson's behind on. The Ontario native can't be happy with his performance on the mound so far tonight. We'll see if he has any time to correct it or if Beeman is on his way to the rubber. That one fouled off there by Freeman. You can see his head tilt forward. He wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, he was so far out front on that he hit it off the end of the bat.
One's going to rumble off the helmet of Sorensen. The count is full.
Yeah, that bounced. That curveball spiked about 2 feet in front of the plate.
That'll shake up a catcher every once in a while. I guess you get so used to taking those shots, though.
Well, the good thing is on a curveball, you know it's coming, and it's not coming that hard. So you don't mind getting any part of the body in front of it.
This one popped aside by Freeman.
It's a good pitch there from Tronston, low and on the corner, and good at bat by Freeman just to foul it off.
This one popped up by Freeman. Long running play for the second baseman. Instead, it's going to be clamped in center field by Carter Beck. As he pushes Westland aside and says, I got it.
It was a good pitch by Johnston. Got in on the hands on Freeman, and all he could do was pop it up.
And coming up still with 2 on is Yusei Uzawa. Berries would love to get a double play here, get out of this top of the second, not allow for the Mavs to push away anymore.
Not an easy guy to double up with Uzawa. He runs very well. And he's a spray hitter. You can see their left fielder is playing over, down the line, and in.
And there's not a lot of easy guys in the Mavericks lineup to double up. All of them have speed. Tronson will keep a eye on the runner behind him, and it's fouled aside by Uzawa. One's across the board for number 1. Uzawa didn't swing there, but that one hits for a strike. Speaking of Yusei, he's been at shortstop a lot lately, but with the return of Volcano, he's moved to the DH spot tonight. We've seen him in the outfield a lot as well. Mavs have a cast of 4 guys who rotate out there. We haven't seen Adam Volcano in a bit. He's a part of that group, along with Uzawa and Freeman and Dvorak, Volcano. So I guess there's really 5 that can rotate. 2-2 here to Uzawa. Ooh, and that clipped him in the back. So Uzawa will make his way to first, and the Mavs will have the bases loaded. And Joe Carnahan is going to exit the dugout here, and maybe about to exit this game is Matthias Tronson. That is a short night, and not what the Berries thought they were getting when Tronson got on the mound to begin this evening.
Uzawa looks like he's hurt down there. I think he got that off the wrist.
Yeah, couldn't see because he turned away, just kind of assuming that it was the back. Obviously, we won't know for sure what part of Yusei's body is aching at the moment. But hopefully he's able to stay in this game. And coming into this game now is Adam Beeman. So while Beeman gets warm, we will step aside. Loaded bases for Tyler Venesti. The second time in this game, he's at a great spot to push runners through. He did in the first. This one's going to be sent off the bag, and it's going to stay fair. A bouncing ball. Venesti's to first, and in to score is Chabot. Wild action here is another thing you don't see every day.
Well, that's a single, definitely a single, and an RBI for Venesti.
My continuing on the theme of strange occurrences in Medicine Hat in 2025, baseball specific, of course. And now coming to the plate is Carter Roth. There's been nothing weird about his year. He's dominated, especially in the batting average category. Sound like a broken record every time he comes to the plate. Speaking of breaking records, he, at this moment in time, would be on pace to knock off the WCBL's all-time batting average leader, which I believe is Micah McDowell off the top of my head. But I will fact check that for you.
Well, he doubled his last at-bat, had an RBI, so a repeat hit in a similar area would be Jim Dandy.
One's going to miss. Roth's got a favorable count. It was Mitch McDonald. So almost right with the name there, in the right area. Roth's going to hit this one up into center field. Will it drop? It does. One is across to score. They're going to hold the runner at third. And although head coach JT talked about earlier this week, one of his favorite things about Ryan Reed is sending the runner at third regardless. That time, the right call to hold the speedy Uzawa up.
Johnny likes these situations. He likes to swing the bat. And he's got some pop in his bat as well.
It almost seems like he gets into a zen here when he has more pressure on him.
Oh, he likes that right center gap.
If I had any advice for a pitcher facing Volcano, it's don't give him the high fastball with the bases loaded. Here comes the throw, and it's a strike to Johnny. He's behind 0-2. Mavericks with a 5-0 lead, and we've only played 2 innings. We haven't finished 2 innings quite yet either. Johnny, swing and a miss, so 3 consecutive pitches. Beeman is going to send Volcano packing. Still a chance for Aaron to pot in a couple more runs. 4 hits on the board for the Mavericks.
Volcano with a triple his last at-bat.
There's a throw from Beeman. Looking to duck out of the way. There was Aaron Volcano, but that one hits for a strike regardless. Volcano is going to ground that one foul. Reaching out to try and grab it was Garrick Levesque. Had that go through his hand. So Volcano will step out. He's in the same spot that his brother was a moment ago. 0-2. Beeman has worked well in his first appearance at Athletic Park this season. And did he go?
Yeah.
He did. So the inning is over. The Mavs leave the bases loaded. They do put 2 on the board and take a 5-0 lead, but I'm sure they were wishing that they could have squeezed a little bit more out of what was such a promising beginning. And it hasn't been promising for the Berries at all, and we will wait to see if they can jam things together here come the top of the third. Carter Beck will start off the top of the third. He's still just waiting to be dangerous. Hudlow's second go around with him. And we know a smart hitter like Beck will learn quickly. And you know that he's got a lethal plan of attack for Hudlow this time. Hudlow doesn't get that one to go. So the count is 1-1. So with Beeman coming into the game, the Mavs will look to trim down that Barry's pitching staff. And it's always a scary thing when your starter doesn't go very far. He doesn't even get through 2 innings in this case. And you got to be worried if you're a coach, especially dependent on how many bodies you have. Saskatoon always has lots within that pitching staff. As this one's out to left, and the play is going to be made by Micah Dvorak for out number 1. So Beck has not found his stride here yet.
Well, the good thing with Saskatoon is that they've got some players that are two-way players. And that helps them out in the pitching department, especially if you're getting into a game where you just got to put somebody in to eat up some innings. We really don't have that luxury.
And these guys aren't two-way players to just say that they're two-way players. They got some elite arms in there. We mentioned Corey Waters and what he does at the plate. He's tied for the league lead in homers this year, but he might be just as good of a pitcher. That pitch is going to miss from Hudlow.
Boy, a steady diet of curveballs from Hudlow.
That one will sneak for a ball. Waiting on the pitches, Houston. This one is going to be ripped foul again. That's the second time he's placed it. Over swinging a little bit, maybe overturning as well.
Yeah, just getting out front on that curveball, but it looks so good coming in.
Two and two count. Here comes the throw from Hudlow. It is popped aside and foul.
Flags are blowing in from the outfield.
Yeah, a rare occurrence here at Athletic Park.
That's kind of an indication of the weather changing too. Usually we see them blowing from left field to right field.
This one's going to jam Houston. A slow roll. Roth quickly to first. He gets it. A play like that is one that can often turn the wins in a game that you know the Berries are still in. Of course, it's early on, but a slow roller that grabbed a bunch of grass on its way to Roth, and he had to be sharp.
Yeah, good approach by Roth. He knew that he had to field it on his side and make a quick flip over to Morrison, which he did.
Hudlow continuing to mow down this top of the order for the Berries. Abiam Medina's up. This one over to Roth again, and it took a hot hop off his wrist. Medina thought about 2. He will stutter step and make his way back to first. That would have closed out this top of the third, and a tough hop for Roth. Not a lot you can do.
Yeah, it just got on the edge of the fringe, the apron around the infield, and it took a little bit of a hop, but we'll see whether it's going to be an error or the first hit for the Berries. And they've given him an error on that.
So 1 on for Mason Roll. And when you talked about off-air, one of the luxuries for the Berries is if one of their guys isn't getting hot tonight, they do have players on the bench who can step in, and Ethan Murdoch being one of those who is available tonight. Ethan Menard, potentially we could see him. These are big names that, although not starters, could still be used.
Yeah, Wooders is there as well.
Throw over to first. Morrison won't get the tag in time. Some quick feet there for Medina. This one is going to be sent backwards. Almost directly on top of that one was Roll. Could have been a very different outcome. But it's an 0-2 count with 2 out. So Hudlow has it in a good spot. Here comes the throw. Swing and a miss. Hudlow with another strikeout to end another inning. He has looked sharp through 3 and has kept this Berries offense at bay. The opposite can be said for the Mavericks. Their offense has been booming. Can they continue the run total here in the 3rd inning? And although we forgot to do this earlier on, we'll get to it now. Let's take a look at the head-to-head between these two teams coming into tonight. The Mavs with a 13-6 record on the year, 15-2 record for the Berries, and the Berries have the upper hand in the head-to-head, 2-0 as opposed to, of course, 0-2 for the Mavericks. Although a different result starting to brew in this game here on the road for the Berries. The run total is ultra close. The Mavs lead at 167-63. It was not always that way. The Mavericks offense has been fiery this year, but it has started to calm down recently, and the Berries offense, they found another gear, and now, although they were playing catch-up at one point, are right on the Mavs' heels. But, of course, they're not too worried about surpassing the Mavs in that sort of total. They're looking to surpass them on the scoreboard here. They'll have to avoid giving up any more, and Evan Morrison will be the potential start of that here for the Mavericks, who have a commanding 5-0 lead. First pitch to Morrison is low. Morrison transferring this year to Hastings College, so a new place for him. When his collegiate season kicks off, he'll get out of the way there. That one heading for his rib cage.
Great opportunity for the Mavs last inning.
Beeman with one, and it'll jam Morrison up a bit. He swings and fouls it up. Barry's putting a lot of trust in Adam Beeman here to take them further than Tronson did. That one high to Morrison. He'll wait.
Yeah, Beeman came in last inning and was able to give up a couple of infield hits and then get 2 strikeouts to leave the bases loaded. So he did a good job.
And although it might not be pretty for Tronson, I'm sure we will have the final total for him soon. Here comes Morrison. He's got great speed. Dust kicking up behind him as he's into second, standing up, and it's a lead-off double for the Mavs' first baseman / DH, Evan Morrison.
Well, he got a hitter's count, 3-1, and he got a pitch on the inner half and didn't miss it.
So Chabot with a chance to get Evan Morrison in. Make it the 3rd consecutive inning with the Mavs scoring a run. And Wayne is showing the bunt signal up here. This one high to Chabot. Definitely wouldn't be bunting on a pitch like that.
No. The corners are playing back. They don't expecting Chabot to bunt, but we know JT has been playing the small game a lot.
Couple of looks. Throw to Chabot. It's going to be sent into the glove of Beeman. He will look off as Morrison will stay over at second. And the Berries get their first out here in the bottom of the third. Micah Dvorak will come up. An RBI machine so far this year. He leads the Mavericks lineup with 20, and he's top 5 in the league as well, trailing a couple of players from the Moose Jaw Miller Express. How about the seasons that William Edwards and Jackson Yeager are having? Boy, those two have started off real nice Moose Jaw Miller Express campaigns, and I'm sure the fans over there got to be loving those two.
Oh, they're a scary team right now.
High one to Dvorak as he stays put.
And they're actually up on Swift Current 5-0.
And that's a team that, although last night at points looked scary, they've been pretty dormant this year. The 57s off to a rough start. They were just trying to get a win on the board for the first 10 games of the year. Dvorak, oh, that's a laser, but it's overturned and it'll go foul. It nearly hit a kid, and luckily it hit a pole down there before it could reach him.
Well, when you look at Moose Jaw, how well they've been playing, and they're supposed to be here Saturday and Sunday. So the Mavs have 4 tough games in a row with Saskatoon, followed by Moose Jaw.
I'm sure they would like to win them all, but I think even taking a split out of there would be something they wouldn't be mad at.
Well, when you're at home, you'd like to win, 3/4 of your games at least. So if they could win 3 out of 4, they'd be very happy. But they are playing tough teams.
And with the pace they're on right now, they'll probably hit that total. This one fouled back by Dvorak. And when you mentioned that game going on in the WCBL, there's a couple others alongside it. Over in Lethbridge, the Bulls are up 2-0 in the top of the third against the Giants. In Brooks, it's already been 5 runs scored, but it's between the two teams. Unlike here, it's 3-2 for the Okotoks Dogs, who are on the road. No runs have been scored in the top of the fourth over in Weyburn. They got the Sylvan Lake Gulls in town, who, for a powerhouse, have struggled. This one over the head of Beeman, and it'll get into center field. Morrison's got good speed. Here comes the throw, and it won't be close. So it is now 6-0 for the Mavericks. Micah Dvorak, another RBI to that large total.
Well, Sorensen was trying to deke Morrison again. He just stood there as if nothing was happening. But Morrison runs too well, and he was going to score standing up. So Dvorak, good job, Mika.
So Micah over on first base, Freeman at the plate. And Beeman giving up his first earned run of the game. That pitch is going to hit for a strike, and didn't mention the last game that's going on in the WCBL tonight. It is in Regina as the Cactus Rats are in town, and the Red Sox, after losing a night ago, are up 4-1 in that contest. Freeman's going to send this one into the air. Shouldn't have enough to get any further than the middle of the outfield, and it is claimed by Carter Beck. 2 outs here for the Mavericks. Micah Dvorak still over on first. And Jaden Babia coming in to pinch hit here. So Yusei Uzawa comes out of the game. And Uzawa in the DH spot, so...
Well, Uzawa got hit with that pitch, and we could tell he was hurting going down first base when they made the pitching change. So hopefully he's going to be okay.
Babiuk will send this one foul. We did get his reaction the other night after he found out about the results of the Oilers game. And luckily for him, he channeled that energy into good groundwork post-game. He was hammering a large object down on home plate. It must have risen up a little bit from the ground. Count is 1-1 to Babiuk. When deflected aside, it goes off the outside of the Mavericks dugout, and it's a race between the two Ottawa University, Kansas buddies, and Diego Centella and Luis Diaz.
That looked just about like a cricket swing there.
Maybe Babiak's got a different sport in his future. This one grounded over to second, and it's scooped up and played to first by Cooper Westland. But the Mavs, once again, throw a tally on the board. 6 runs along with 6 hits. They are up big here in the early going against the Berries, who I'm sure didn't expect to be down coming into town. Let's start off the top of the 4th inning. Barry's back to work in the hitting department. Hudlow back to work on the mound. He's looked solid through 4 innings. The only thing I'm sure he would like to get down is that pitch count. It's up just past 50 now.
Yeah, that's the one thing that he can't reduce in this game. He's pitched very, very well.
This one's going to be grounded over to first. Morrison gets a glove on it. That was a tricky play. That hop could have gone anywhere, and luckily it lands in the leather for Evan. One down here. As Balin Sorensen is up to bat. Freeman with the ground out there. Evan Janner on deck. Hudlow. Here comes the first offering to Sorensen, and he gets him to swing and miss.
Yeah, good curveball there from Hudlow.
I'm going to hit the dirt. For Hudlow, talked about him coming back for another year with the Mavs. He was not here for all of last season, and he was a late add as the Mavs just about entered the playoffs. And he didn't get into his rhythm at all, and I think he felt that too. He was happy that although this year he's not going to get a full season, he would be in a good spot to have a firm starting point and have more of a predictable season than he did a year ago. So he gets another out there via a ground ball over to Johnny Volcano. It's been anything but consistent for Volcano, but his numbers say otherwise over the last couple of years. Over 100 games played for the Mavs, and he's one of just 8 guys to ever reach that feat, at least since 2010. Prior to that, the stats are no longer on the internet, so we will never know. Unless somebody out there has a record book handy and can pass it along. There's a swing and a miss by Janner. But another guy that is getting close to that and could reach that milestone on Saturday if he plays in every game is Tyler Vanesti. He's creeping up on 100 games. I'm sure that infield on the left-hand side is very familiar with both of them by now.
Yeah, Johnny has struggled a little bit with the bat tonight, but boy, he's made every play it short.
Hudlow will float that one aside. He's behind here 2-1. Waiting on deck for the Berries is Cooper Westland. Here's a throw from Hudlow. Misses again as he hops around. Hudlow hasn't had a 3-up, 3-down inning yet, I don't believe.
No, he hasn't.
He's gotten close a couple of times.
Yeah, he walked the leadoff batter in the second and then got the next 3 out.
And he's going to walk one here. So that'll bring up Westland. It'll be another inning that the Berries extend, and this time it's purely due to great eyes at the plate. And Westland, the beer batter for tonight. Get that money off beer for the fans in the stands. First pitch is a strike here from Hudlow as he gets back on the right side of things.
Yeah, Cooper flew out to Volcano in right field his first at-bat. That was in the second inning.
Turner Zdunich waiting on deck. Zdunich struck out in his last plate appearance. Over to first, a floater. It's more just to scare Janner, never had a chance to get him.
Yeah, that was just, hey, I know you're there. Don't get too far off. Boy, we were talking in between innings. Mike Richards, the home plate umpire, has done an excellent job. His strike zone's been very consistent.
We hope that that can continue for him and I guess for everybody's sake throughout the rest of this game. Hudlow with a couple of checks over at first. There's a high throw. He's certainly been distracted by the presence of Janner. Janner with 5 stolen bases this season. You know the Berries want to get someone in scoring position. Miss again from Hudlow.
Yeah, Max has just got to realize that he can't control the runner at first. So if he's splitting his attention span, that's not going to help him. And right now, you've got Westland with a great hitter's count. And Janner, this is a good pitch to run on.
And he does. This one's sent into flight. Dvorak's got eyes on it. And he is going to lock that one into the bottom of his glove. That will take care of the top of the 4th inning. A little shaky at the end for Hudlow, but he survives. And the Mavs, they're doing more than survive in this game. Up big, 6-0. Tyler Venesti is the first batter that Adam Beeman will see in inning number 4. Can the Mavs keep this great run alive of scoring runs? Low pitch to Tyler Venesti. Nobody warming up for the Berries. None for the Mavs either. Venesti puts this one on the ground. It is into the mitt of second baseman Cooper Westland. So the last 2 outs belong to Westland. With Dr. Dre playing in the background, Carter Roth is up to bat. He changed his walk-up song for 1 game. Did not have a good night when Brooks was in town, and then sent me a text right after saying, hey, can I change that back? And it was probably the right decision. He's got on tonight, and believe he has an RBI in there as well.
Oh, he's 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs.
His song is called What's the Difference? And clearly the difference is the music that plays when he comes to the plate.
Question, could these players play if they didn't have walk-up songs? Like, would they be incapable of playing without a walk-up song?
Well, depends on who you ask. Some probably don't even listen to it. I'm sure there's others who it's a superstition. Others think maybe a rhythm thing helps them lock into a mode. But there are some players who like to change their walk-up songs a lot. I want to say Adam Volcano changed his 4 times last year, and he was only here for the last month or so. That's about a once-a-week average. Sorry, Adam, didn't mean to call you out like that, but he is a big fan of music, and I'm sure he wants to make sure that he can share his taste with everybody else.
I'm not sure any of the fans ever listen to the walk-up songs. Do you think they're paying attention to them?
Well, I think when it's a song that they enjoy, they pay attention to it. But otherwise, they just tune it out as this one's sent over to short. High throw is going to get into the Berries dugout. And over to second base is Carter Roth. Taking a spill over at first as well was Zadunich.
That'll be an error on the shortstop. Boy, Houston, he just let that go and it sailed. He had time to get his feet moving, but he kept his feet planted and just threw it all arm. And then at first base, Zadunich, he had time to get Roth out, but as he went to stop, his feet slipped out. Well, runner on second.
And a chance for Johnny Volcano to officially welcome himself back. First pitch is high. Couple looks over from Beeman. Now here comes the throw. High again to Volcano. He's aware of what Johnny wants. He just wants to elevate a little bit so he swings under. But this time around, Johnny being patient.
Well, 2-0 count. Johnny, don't be impatient.
There's another one that's up on top, about eye level. Time Volcano does get hit with a strike.
So the younger brother, Mark Volcano, is playing up on Jeffries Park tonight. He's playing American Legion up there. They're playing the Medicine Hat Knights from Vauxhall.
And Johnny over towards first base. So which game do you think a majority of the Volcano family members are watching tonight? Are they tuned in with us on Flow Sports, or are they watching up top?
I would say Dad's up there at Jeffries Park because he's a coach, and Mom is probably here.
It's a good prediction.
So we've
Talk
got
here with
Aaron
Beeman.
up at the plate. Aaron struck out looking last time with the bases loaded, but he also has an RBI triple earlier in this game.
And the one thing that does work in the Volcano parents' favor is they don't have to do the split jerseys where you got one team on one side and one on the other. They all play for the same squad, so it makes it easy. Now, they may have to switch up the jersey that they're wearing once in a while to accommodate for each brother, but they're all on the same team. Volcano, did he go there? Official word down at first base is no.
There is action in the Berries bullpen. We'll try to get a number and name to you shortly.
The Berries do have bigger numbers on their jerseys, but still not easy to see. Is not able to see that one was Volcano as he swings and misses.
That was a good changeup from Beeman.
Beeman still got the pressure at his back. Aaron will wait again. Or I guess wait for the first time, but it's a strike again.
Fans are unhappy with that call. They're booing out there. They thought that pitch was outside.
Clipping that one back to the net. Beeman will wait on Aaron. Volcano is set. Here comes the throw. Ooh, you could tell it stayed in his fingers a little bit longer than he would have liked.
Good catch by Sorensen.
Yeah, that would have put two in scoring position. Does move the count to 2-2 for Volcano, so a little bit more comfort for him. But as we said, he never looks uncomfortable at the plate. Here's the throw. Did he go? Yeah. And home plate umpire says that he did. So Richards with the final result, and Volcano probably knew that he chased that one as well with a helmet bang to his bat.
Yeah. That was a good pitch by Beeman.
Boy, could the Berries use Beeman getting them out of this inning, not just for scoring purposes, as obviously if the Mavericks score two more, it's a tougher hill to climb, but for arm purposes as well. Morrison, this one is hit hard. Does it have enough gas? It won't. That one stayed in the air for forever and into the deepest part of the park. It would have taken a breath of wind to get it over those boards, but the Mavs still in command, up 6-0 despite not scoring for the first time in this game in the bottom of the fourth. Hudlow will be back on the mound for the Mavs when we return, looking to keep his solid streak alive.
So, top of 5.
This game's had a decent pace to it. Nothing quick, but nothing slow. And up at the plate is the number 9 hitter, Turner Zadunich. And Wayne, we have to bring this to air. Your debate about my call of what the boundary is in the outfield. Swing and a miss there from Zadunich.
Well, I know we have a difference of opinion, but the outfield is called the fence, not the boards. That's a hockey term. You don't hit it up against the boards, you hit it up against the fence. You don't hit it over the boards, you hit it over the fence.
Swing and a miss there from Zadunich. Well, it could be anything. Could be a boundary. Could be a wall. Could be wood even.
But it's not the boards, it's the fence.
A wooden plank is a board, and I'm going to leave it at that. I stand by that.
You stand by the fact that Morrison needed a little bit more air to hit
He
it over the boards.
He did need a little bit more wind to get it over those
the
boards.
boards.
Here's Hudlow.
Beck.
This one will need a little more wind too, as it's into the shallow part of the outfield.
Oh, 2 up, 2 down for Max.
For those who haven't seen Carter Beck before and are just watching this game tonight, this is not your typical Carter Beck performance. This is rare what we're seeing. Hudlow's dealt with him well.
Yeah, usually he's about 4 for 5, and he stands on second base a lot right after he hits.
First pitch strike from Hudlow. Swing and a miss there from Houston. Another guy that has not had things go his way tonight.
Yeah, Houston's 0 for 2. He grounded out to second and flew out to right field.
High one from Hudlow, hoping for a chase.
Yeah, I like that selection. A fastball up in the zone, just got a little bit too high. Chabot had the glove up, but Hudlow missed a little bit up too high.
This time he's going to miss low. So will he follow the same formula that he's been going with? Get the first 2 out and then allow the third one to reach via walk.
Yeah, those 1, 2, 3 innings are hard to come by tonight.
That one missed by a landslide. Three-two pitch, 2 out. Houston waiting for the throw from Hudlow, and it's going to hit him.
Tried to get that curveball into the strike zone, but couldn't get it there.
I was speaking to Gary Dornan the other day. It's different for all pitchers, but for many, they start their curveball aim-wise by throwing it right at the batter. And the result of that sometimes is you hit a couple in the side, and that's what we saw from Houston. Not sure where Max, what his process is, where he aims, but I know Dornan talked about that he always aims for the hitter's elbow.
Yeah, you can freeze a hitter when you do that.
Here's the throw from Hudlow. That'll be ball number 1.
No matter where you throw your curveball, you don't want to leave it over the middle of the plate. And if you can get it to look like it's on the plate and then break off the plate, usually you're going to get soft contact.
That's hard contact. Did that get caught in the dugout? It did. I'm not sure who caught that down there. That was a great snag. That could have hit somebody in the head.
Number 7.
And I believe that's Turner Zadunich.
Yeah, he had his left-handed glove. Yeah, good for him.
This one is driven out over towards Dvorak. He's got a long way to go, trying to cut it off, and it is going to climb over the wall. A 2-run home run for the Berries, and they're on the board, breaking up Max Hudlow's no-hitter.
Oh, that kind of hurt.
We'll see if that changes the momentum in this game as Medina, who is one of the better batting averages in the league, goes far. It seemed like that ball just never seemed to stop on its path over the wall. And Dvorak looking at it the whole way and then realized he was already at the base of it.
At first, I thought Dvorak was going to catch it. And then I thought,
there's one along the ground. Volcano over to first, and there is the third out. But not without some damage. The Berries on the board. Medina goes deep. And it's 2 less runs that the Berries will have to get in the back half here. We'll see if the Mavs can respond with a little bit of offense of their own. But first, let's take a look at what 2 players are on display in our player head-to-head for tonight. And we picked the Carters because not only do they have the same name, but they have very similar stats and they have very similar status as well. Both looking to become all-stars this year, maybe even MVPs, as Carter Roth leading in the hits department over Beck, 35-18. He leads in the runs batted in category as well, 18-14. But in terms of power and hitting the long ball, it is Carter Beck who is ahead 3-1. That's not Roth's specialty usually. For Beck, his specialty is just about everything, and we've seen that on display all season long. We'll be back after a word from our official network, Flow Sports. And we're back after a short word from our network, and we're back with already 1 out on the board here. Micah Dvorak out at the plate, and Jamel Chabot with a ground out over towards short. A new pitcher on the mound, Wayne. Who do we have?
we've got Alex Shamro on the mound. Big, tall right-hander, 6'5". He's got a little giddy up on his pitches.
From West Texas A&M. A couple of guys on that on the Berries from there. Matt Whitney as well. He's just a freshman as Whitney's a senior. This one is hit a far ways, but it's into center field, and it's trackable as Beck gets his glove under it. So 2 down for the Mavs here in what has been a quick start to the bottom of the 5th inning. Good response from the Berries pitching-wise here. And they don't necessarily need the game to speed up, but when they're out there defensively, they need to have some shorter innings so that they can keep their bat energy around. Here's Freeman. Ooh, healthy swing that time.
You can kind of feel the tide switching a little bit in this game.
Shumrow. That one is right into the shortstop's glove. Good play by Houston to stop up and grab it from one knee. 3 outs in a row for the Mavericks. And when you talk about that tide, it is turning quick. Hold on tight. This game is getting good. We will be back. But first, let's talk about our sponsor and our official hotel. We assume the Berries are probably staying there. That is Town Place Suites by Marriott, and we'll see if they're heading there ready to have a good night's sleep tonight or if they're going to be haunted by the results of this game. Regardless, Town Place Suites has all of the perks that you would like in a hotel. Swimming, good breakfast, and comfortable beds, as always, at an affordable price.
I didn't know.
So Wayne was speaking before the start of this inning, but he didn't know that his mic was muted, as this one is going to fall right over near Carter Roth. He threw it to first anyways. Not sure if that ball bounced in the dirt.
It bounced right in front of the plate.
I was captivated by the high hop. Eyes hadn't steered that way to start.
So we have A.J. Dole on the mound. The line score for Max Hudlow, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. He struck out 3, walked 3, and hit 2 batters. So a good outing for Max. He leads with the score being 6-2 in the Mavs' favor.
And for Dahl, he's pitched 9 innings so far this year, so a full game. Has a 6 ERA, 13 strikeouts. Had a little bit of turbulence a night ago here when the Bombers were in town. He ended up buckling down, figuring it out, and steering the Mavs to yet another victory, and he looks to do the same here tonight. He's usually in the closer role, so we're not used to seeing him this early. See what his comfort level is like, as that one is popped over into right field. Hits the ground right in front of Roth. Would have been almost impossible for him to make a play like that. 1 on for the Berries here.
And I like what AJ is doing out there. He's coming right after the hitters. He's got a good fastball, and he's saying, here it is, hit it.
Evan Janner, who's got good speed. Hudlow was holding him on last time he reached base. Threw over there a couple times, but now he's at the plate looking to get in a position to use his speed. Cooper Westland is waiting on deck, so we're at the bottom of the Berries order. And this is the sort of situation where if your bottom of the order can get going and lessen the pressure that's been put on the top of the order tonight and how they've underperformed, you can get away and you can steal some games.
Well, the hitters at the top of the order like hitting when there's runners on, and if the bottom order can get on, that's exactly what sets up a good inning for a team.
Looked like Janner almost slipped on that swing there. He was trying to move his foot out of the way.
Yeah, that was a fastball low and inside, and looked like it was an excuse me, get a ball, get away from me type swing. And nevertheless, the count is 1-2.
A tilt of the cap here from Dahl. He's going to miss. Mavericks do have a pitcher warming up behind him. Luke Barrientos hasn't gone for a while, and judging by the figure down there, I think it could be him. But that's a long way to look. So we'll keep our focus towards Dahl. This one's going to be fouled down that way of the bullpen. Instead, it'll climb a little bit further into the grass upon it. 2-2 count. Janner will step back in. Mavs would love a double play here. We haven't seen one yet tonight. This one along the ground. Long way to go for Roth. It's out of his reach. Here's going to be the throw to third. It'll have to be perfect, and it gets into Venesti's glove. A bit of a risky throw as well. So runner at first with good speed is Janner. He could have headed for second.
Yeah, I thought Janner might go to second. Dahl didn't get over behind third. If that ball got past Venesti, it would have been a run and a runner at second. And that ball was just out of the reach of Roth at second base.
Yeah, Roth made a good run at it. So still just the one out on the board. Barry's threatening. Make it a 2-run game if they're able to score the guys on. Here's the throw from Chabot, and it's not in time. The runner slipped behind Roth there, and he had to go for a backwards tag, similar to the one we saw from catcher Sorensen earlier in the game. So it'll take out the double play, puts 2 in scoring position here. And Dahl in another pressure-filled spot. And in trouble early on in his pitching campaign tonight. This one off the end of the bat, over to Roth, and good job from the Berries runners. They got right back to their spots, otherwise Roth could have looked for a double play and threw it over to Volcano at second. Chabot will have a quick word with Dahl. And up next is Turner Zdunich.
Zdunich has struck out both times tonight, but that was against Hudlow. Dahl looks like he's just about exclusively using his fastball. And all the hitters are going to the right side with it.
That's dangerous. If he elevates one a little bit, they could be going far to the right side. What I mean by that is over the back wall. This one's going to be put over towards Volcano, and he's going to miss it. 1 run in to score, a second in to score, a costly error from Johnny Volcano that'll make this a 2-run ball game. The inning would have been over.
Yeah, he had time to get his feet set and make the throw.
And it brings up Carter Beck, who is more than due. Berries still have one on. Dahl is going to miss with that heater. This time he hits.
A little misfortune for Dahl. He's had 4 ground balls. 2 of them just beyond second baseman Roth.
Sometimes the bounces just don't fall in your favor. Dahl works his way back with another strike. But a third one will be hard against Carter Beck. A slow roller over to Venesti. Had to double clutch over to first, and safe is called.
He was out. Venesti couldn't get the ball out of his glove cleanly and just had to try to get the grip, and that hesitation cost him the play at first base.
So a shocking turn of events here at Athletic Park. We saw this last night with the Mavericks. They gave up 10 runs to the Swift Current 57s and almost lost that game in a similar spot here. This one's out into right field. 1 run is going to score for sure. Not sure if Beck will be able to get there. Instead, the throw is on time, and they get him at the plate. Oh, I thought Zdunich had more than enough room to curl around the base path. But that throw was timed so perfectly, and the tag the same.
Yeah, that was a perfect throw from Volcano. A 1-hopper right on target. It was an easy catch, and just put the glove down, put the tag on.
A heart racer in that inning, regardless of what side you were cheering for. Oh, some tense moments. Jaden Babiak will hit this one right as we hop on air. And that is out number 1. Tyler Venesti will head up into the batter's box, and a little bit of misfortune for A.J. Dahl last inning. He did well with getting ground balls. He threw the ball in the strike zone too, so he challenged each hitter. That's all you can ask for from your pitcher, just the berries. When you play teams that are as good as them, they're going to capitalize. And they did there with another 2-run inning. That's back-to-back.
Yeah, it's a game of inches, and that one ball that just got beyond Carter Roth's glove at second base, and then the ball that went underneath Volcano's glove at short. Yeah, AJ Dahl deserved better fate, but kudos to Saskatoon. They put the bat on the ball, and then you've got to make the plays.
Venesti will wait and take a strike.
I'm sure Aaron Volcano was saying to Johnny, I had to pick you up there after that error, so I had to throw the guy out at home. That was a great throw.
Two and two count to Venesti. Barry's hoping for another quick bottom half of an inning. Ooh, did that one hit Venesti? I think it bounced before.
I think he could have sold that, couldn't he? He could have hopped around.
Well, we saw the one the night ago. J.R. Bedford was here and kind of leaned into one. I think if Venesti puts his foot out, and that's no knock on Bedford, that's trying to get the smallest advantage that you can. This one has legs all the way back to the wall, off the top and out. Bombs away goes Tyler Venesti. The Mavs up by 3.
Good thing he didn't let the ball hit him.
Venesti's favorite spot. It is right over that right field fence. And we talked about that team lead being tied up amongst many Mavericks players. Well, Tyler Venesti now holds that lead, and he ties the league lead with 5 home runs on the season. Not known as a power guy, but he's known as a big-time player, and he made another big-time play.
Well, it's nice to get a run back right after the Berries had scored 2 runs in the last 2 innings. Mavs needed a little bit of a shot in the arm. Hopefully that's going to give them something to work on.
Another fun one here at Athletic Park. This game has had it all so far. And this is what you asked for. Saskatoon Berries coming into town, playing a newly developing rivalry I think we see between these two, especially because they faced off in the playoffs last year. A battle for first place in that division, battle for who's the best in the Western Canadian Baseball League. And the Mavericks have the upper hand at this moment in time, but that could easily change as the Berries have proved.
Well, we talked about it being a game of inches, and there it was again. It bounces off the top of the wall and out.
Yeah, neither home run that has been hit tonight was a no-doubter.
No, they were very close.
That Medina one just seemed to carry forever, and Venesti's was up in the air for a while, but the closer we got to the wall, the more we began to question. And fortunately for Venesti and his Maverick friends, it had enough to squeeze over.
So Carter Roth at the plate. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Got on. He hit it to the shortstop last inning, and the shortstop overthrew first base.
Might have another one to add. This one up in the air. Should be playable in right field for Freeman. And that is out number 2. Johnny Volcano will grab a bat from the ball boy and get ready to run himself.
Well, you know what Johnny's thinking. He needs to get back into the hit column and atone for that mistake at short last inning.
Won't swing at that one. Yeah, this will be an at-bat where he's hunting. Not every at-bat you go into with an aggressive approach. I think Volcano might take that on here. And that swing says it all.
I'm impressed with Shamrow. He's pitched very well, only given up the one hit. It was a solo home run, but he's right around the strike zone.
Right around it again as he gets a swing and a chase from Johnny Volcano. And a swing and a miss again. Volcano strikes out as he's had a couple of those tonight. It hasn't been his night, but for the Mavericks, it's been theirs. Another run on the board, this time from Tyler Vanesti as he goes long, but the game is within arm's reach for the Berries, and their bats are heating up as they enter this top of the 7th inning. And before we get there, let's talk about part of the reason this team has been so red hot in general, and that is the off-season acquisitions. Now, there's no trading or free agency, but players can move to your team, and fortunately for the Berries, they had this trio. Nathan Houston, third last year in the WCBL in batting average with a .385. He was a 2024 All-Star, and he lost in the WCBL final, so he has lots of playoff pedigree along with playoff experience, and as mentioned, played for the Miller Express last season. Cleaver Martina, boy, can he fill the strike zone. He led the WCBL in Ks last year with 75, also an all-star, and he led the league in saves. So more of a reliever, but he can also be used as a starter. He's one of those unique breeds, played for the 57s last year, who have been struggling mightily in the pitching column this year. And for Matt Whitney, talk about being high up in the pitching column, that's all he does. Second in Ks last year with 66, also an all-star, led the WCBL in wins with 6, and that was on a Fort McMurray team who, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who can, I guess we don't have a comment section, but I think just squeaked into the playoffs. At least they were tied in the last playoff spot. Can't remember if they made it or not, but he was dominant and was in the Pitcher of the Year conversation for most of last year. So they add those three, and we talked about Ethan Murdoch early on tonight. Didn't mention him here, but he's a machine as well. They got him from the 57s. My, what a crop that they have brought in. We haven't seen Whitney or Martina tonight. Maybe we'll see Martina in the latter half, as we obviously saw those save numbers. But if they don't have to use them, they'll save them for tomorrow and maybe throw them in when they have a lead or with a chance to win a game. Still time left here as we're in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, Medina hit a home run last at bat, a 2-run home run, and he was looking to go again deep fly.
That one hammered aside. Dahl collects. Nobody warming up here for the Mavericks. Dahl is going to miss with that throw. Dahl 16 strikes to just 7 balls tonight. That's a great total for him as he gets a swing and a foul there from Medina. Home plate umpire Mike Richards will walk that one over to Dahl. Medina batting .500 on the season with a .2000 slugging percentage. Swing and a miss as Dahl gets him this time around. So gets a little revenge for his teammate Max Hudlow, who gave up the home run to Medina earlier, which was Medina's first of the season.
Well, that was power against power. Medina's power against Dahl's fastball, and this time Dahl came up the victor.
Medina's batting average just by striking out drops from 500 to 333.
I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
what it's. I got the stats right next to me.
Oh, 500 in this game.
In this game, not on the
Oh,
season.
yes,
There
okay.
you go.
Okay.
If you want the season stats, I can get them to you as well. Medina batting .419 so far this year. Not a lot of guys hitting in the 400 range. There might be only 5 or 6 in the league.
Well, and that number is going to go down as the year goes on.
Count is 1-1 to third baseman Mason Roll.
So the Mavs and the Berries play each other 8 times this year, don't they? 4 here, 4 in Saskatoon.
Yeah, this is the first of 4 here. I've already played 2 in Saskatoon so far this year, as we indicated when talking about the head-to-head record earlier on tonight. But the Mavericks will be welcoming in lots of Saskatchewan teams. Of course, Moose Jaw on Saturday and Sunday, strike there from Dahl. And then they go out that way for 2 against Weyburn, and then Regina is here on the 26th and 27th of June, and the 28th and 29th we'll see the Berries once again. And then the Berries do not return for the rest of the season. So it's in that short clump where we have to get a feel for what the Berries are all about. And A.J. Dahl with another strikeout.
Great
this time
ball.
getting Roll.
Great curveball.
Speaking of rolls, he's on one here. A couple of teams that we won't get to see this year. Wayne, the Sylvan Lake Gulls, they're not visiting Athletic Park at all. Fort McMurray Giants won't be here. The Energy City Cactus Rats don't come this way. So most of the teams in the East Division, actually all the teams in the East Division, will play several times here at Athletic Park, but it's off and on to who the Mavericks will see from the West year in and year out. And this year the draw sets them with Lethbridge, Okotoks, and Brooks at home. Yeah. Ooh. Dahl got a little too much height on that one. And little is probably an understatement.
Dahl has really settled in as well.
Freeman, 16 for 55 so far this season. He's got a .290 batting average as he fouls that one off. No home runs and 9 RBIs. Dahl, long wait. Here comes the throw. Floats it aside.
Mavs have 7 runs on 7 hits, have committed 2 errors. Saskatoon 4 runs on 5 hits and have committed 3 errors.
Here comes the pitch from Dahl, and a swing and a foul there from Freeman. He's playing his collegiate ball at Eastern New Mexico University. He's a senior from Houston, Texas, and he began his college career playing for Texas Southern, so he stayed in his home state for his career. That will miss. It's a full count, and he's got the clutch gene as well. Hit a walk-off single against Incarnate Word in the 9th to give his team the win back a couple seasons ago. They might need some of that magic in a comeback effort tonight. Here's the throw from Dahl and another foul from Freeman. The longer this count goes on, the longer it benefits Jalen. Dahl searching for one more strike and one more out here in this 7th. Here it comes. Swing and a miss as he gets Freeman. What an inning for A.J. Dahl. He found the strike zone and he didn't let go of it. Pitch after pitch, swing after swing. The Mavs lead by 3 and a massive inning for Dahl and company. Bottom of the 7th inning, Mavs clinging to a 3-run lead here at home as Aaron Volcano steps back in to begin this inning. And he's going to make some noise, but this one is going to float into the glove of the left fielder in Janner. He crept forward at the beginning and almost lost track of that baseball.
That's the 3rd inning in a row that we've gone out on the very first pitch. And Shamrow loves that we're swinging early in the count.
Strike there to Evan Morrison. And just a heads up, I'm sure you're waiting for our annual segment that we have on every night. And we haven't had a lot of Thursday night games, so we haven't been able to do weird and wacky rules or occurrences in baseball. But we will have that coming up after the bottom of the 7th, so stick around. There won't be a commercial break or a silence over top of what you're viewing on the field. We'll have a funny story to share as this one to the side of Evan Morrison. And mentioned to Wayne earlier, I think there will be some moments this season that in seasons from now, if we're still kicking around, we will be able to share on the weird and wacky segment section, because there has been a lot of weird ones.
Yeah, we've seen some share of oddities so far this year. Things that you'd never expect to see at a baseball game. We've seen some of them.
We've seen a couple weird bounces this game. Of course, the bounce off the top of the wall isn't weird, but it's fortunate. But the bounce off of first base for Tyler Venesti, that one a bit more obscure. There's an out to Evan Morrison as he swings and misses. But Venesti has had the bounces on his side tonight. Can't say that it's been the same for all of his teammates, but it has been in TV's direction. First pitch to Chabot is low. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the post game, but the Berries pitching ever since the start from Tronson has been excellent. It's kept them alive. Beeman had his fair share of shakes, but he was able to slither out of the way, and then the two pitchers to follow have both been great. And they're doing this all without using any of the big two in Martina and Whitney.
Well, I imagine Whitney's due to start either tomorrow or this weekend if they continue to play.
Carter Kopp, a veteran, he could always be an option as well. Two and two count to Chabot. Here comes the throw and a swing and a miss. So another quick inning here is both pitchers throwing lots of strikes and getting lots of swings in return. That's a recipe for success. But can the Berries find that same sort of success with the bats? It's been a question that we still have not answered this game, and we'll have to wait a little bit to see if we figure it out. But before we do so, let's go over our weird occurrence in baseball for tonight, and we'll take this one to a team that is familiar to many Canadians who are listening in the Toronto Blue Jays, and that is when manager Bobby Valentine had one of the most hilarious acts in Major League Baseball history. During a game in June of 1999, Valentine was ejected after arguing a catcher's interference call. We see managers arguing calls all the time, so what is so weird about this instance, so to say? Rather than catching the remainder of the game in the clubhouse, Valentine decided to put on a fake mustache and street clothes as he returned to the dugout in a disguise. Well, it was funny in the moment probably for the players and fans alike, but the commissioner's office, as they often do, were not amused by Valentine's humor at all and ended up suspending him and also charging him $5,000 for making a return to the game. Now, it is a rule that has been in place for a long time, not being able to return to the game. But, Wayne, would you let him off the hook for something as funny as putting on a fake disguise to try and duke out the umpire's sight?
No, you can't let him off the hook for that. I mean, he broke one of Major League Baseball's rules. Now, it was funny at the time, but can you imagine other managers that would try something like that? So, yeah, Valentine was a little bit of a character. And was he managing the Mets at that time?
He may have been.
Yeah, I think he was managing the New York Mets at that time. But, yeah, there have been some characters in baseballs, for sure. Some character managers.
I was always curious to see if, and this hasn't happened, at least to my knowledge, but if a manager had a twin, if they could pull off a switch like that.
Yeah, they probably could.
I know this is a different sport and may not relate, but since we're on the topic, there was always a rumor that the Morris twins, two NBA players who are more so role players, they had the same sort of tattoos, and there was always rumors that they would play for each other's teams during playoff runs. Now, that's likely not true, but it would be funny if that was what occurred.
So A.J. Dole back on the mound for his third inning of work.
And he hasn't found the strike zone here in his first three throws as they all miss. He does have a player warming up behind him, and you got to believe it's Luke Barrientos. This is likely his turn, and he'll be fresh. Might even be able to finish the game out for the Mavs. Dahl's going to miss on 4 consecutive pitches, so he loses that touch that he used so effectively just an inning ago.
Well, he just finished striking out the side, and it's amazing how that home plate can get so small after it looks so big.
Evan Janner will head up to the plate. Balin Sorensen over on first base now, and waiting on deck is Cooper Westland. And this is the kind of look that you want to start this inning for the Berries. Get the leadoff runner on and hope that your bottom half of the lineup can churn out some base runners so that the big dogs in Houston and Beck can pot them in. That pitch is going to be low, so 5 consecutive balls now for Dahl, and JT will come out to the mound and talk with him.
I think he might be buying a little bit of time for Barrientos to get warmed up.
Be a good strategy. And I'm sure the word going in Janner's direction is he can't find the strike zone. Make him find the strike zone. Wait on everything that you can.
Yeah, he won't swing until Hudlow throws him a strike.
I didn't know we traveled back in time. I thought Hudlow was taken out a couple of innings ago.
Oh, yes. I got to get my characters straight. They're like chess pieces out there. Yeah, Dahl will have to throw him a strike. The runner at first won't be going anywhere until, again, Hudlow throws a strike.
It's funny you bring that up, and I'll tell you why after this pitch. Dahl will send in a strike there, but that's the beauty of this job, is being able to take players from being just chess pieces or a number on a jersey and connect them closer to the players, bring them out to life, make you feel as though you already know these people even though you've never met half of them. Here's the throw from Dahl. This one is sprung over into right field. What a hard hit that was. A zipper right off the bat of Janner. And that puts 2 runners on for the Berries.
Yeah, that got by Morrison in a hurry.
Yeah, you can't fault him on that one. That was smoked.
Well, this is a big inning for the Berries, and it started off exactly how they wanted to start off. A walk, a hit, and you've got runners on the corners with nobody out. And now you've got something you can play with here.
Runner creeping in over at third, only causing a distraction. Throw's going to be down to second, and it's not close. And that was an interesting play towards the end. That thing, magnetic-like, went right into Volcano's glove, and he might have scratched shoulders with the base runner going through. I don't think he had the ball in time, though.
Well, Roth, his job was to cut in front of the throw or let the throw go by to freeze a runner at third so he doesn't go, and then Volcano catches the ball, and hopefully they can put the tag on. But a good jump at first base by Janner. He had the base stolen.
And a good strategy from the Berries here, being aggressive, and that's lots of experience from Joe Carnahan, being both a player and a manager in this league, being a champion. I think the most important thing on his resume. He knows how to win tight ball games. He's looking to do that again here with the tying run at the plate. Dahl hits with a strike. On the Mavs side of things, they're 6 outs away from another home victory.
Infield is playing back. They're going to let 1 run score for an out. They'll give up a run for an out.
Throw from Dahl. It's going to be hit over to short. Volcano to first, and just like you described, Wayne, they're willing to give up a run for an out, so the runner will advance over to third, and this is now a 7-5 ball game. Turner Zdunic will head up. He struck out last time he faced Dahl. Or I guess he hasn't faced Dahl yet. He struck out against Hudlow earlier in the game. It's confusing him and Medina.
He hit the ground ball to Volcano that went under his glove and scored 2 runs.
And that's the game changer at the moment. Run will come in to score. Roth over to first. He gets it to Morrison. And it is a 1-run ball game. Great start to the inning for the Berries. They've already driven 2 home. The base path is clear. But you get a guy who can hit it far in Carter Beck. Dahl looking for one more out. Will probably end his day, and Beck looking to bring his team back from the grave. They were down 6-0 at one point in this. Here's Beck's going to flare this one over to Dvorak. Didn't get enough on it, and so the Mavs, they conclude this inning with a fly ball into left field, courtesy of Carter Beck, but they do surrender 2 runs after the Berries were able to get on the base path early. It is a 7-6 ball game. Can the Mavs get some insurance, or will it be the Berries with a comeback a-brewing? Before we get to any of that, let's talk about our community/university feature for tonight. And it is Mid-America Christian University, also known as MACU, located in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They have just over 2,000 students enrolled. They've changed their name four separate times over the years. One of them that is featured on this graphic. In 1953, they were founded as South Texas Bible Institute, so they were named and located in a different state. Their motto since day one has been dream bigger, do greater. That's what the Mavericks have been doing at home so far this year. And their campus is 23 hours and 30 minutes away from Athletic Park, and that is driving distance. And fortunately for Ryan Reed, who coaches at Mid-America Christian, he didn't have to make that drive. I believe he flew up, so a shorter journey for him. But to give you a little context, it is not near Canada, and it is certainly not near Medicine Hat. So we'll see if we got a new pitcher on the mound here, Wayne, for
Travis
the bottom
Phelps.
of the 8th.
Travis Phelps, number 43, is on the mound, a senior, big, tall right-hander. 6'4", is from Lamar University, which is in Louisiana.
A Division I program.
Yes, big-time school. From Alvin, Texas.
There's lots of players around the league who've played at Lamar. Could be wrong, but I think Ricky Sanchez had a stint there. Former MVP with the Okotoks Dogs. Currently back there again this year.
Let's see if the Mavs can get something going. They need to get the momentum back on their side, and we've got 9-1-2, Micah Dvorak.
And Phelps could be the guy to do that against. He's only pitched 3 innings this year in 3 separate games, as Dvorak will send this one over into left field, and it drops into the glove of Janner.
4 innings in a row. The first hitter went out on one.
That's a remarkable trend. Nobody's predicting that one. But back to Phelps' numbers. He's got a 12 ERA on the year so far. He does have a win to his name, but he also has 3 walks to 5 strikeouts. Hasn't pitched a whole lot, so I'm sure the Berries and I guess fans alike don't really know what he's made of. But if he's got a little bit of resilience in him, he'll be able to navigate his crew through this bottom of the 8th and give them a chance to bring it home, or at least push it to extras. That one low to Freeman. He's got a lot of great bats to deal with, as the Mavs have their top of the order here. So it'll be Freeman. Babiuk, who came in for Yusei Uzawa, he's still batting over 300. He comes in right behind Jeremy. So that one's fouled aside. And then Tyler Vanesti, who that home run has become a lot more important now that we see the score is 7-6. It's been the only Mavericks run scored since the 3rd inning. Waiting patiently again is Freeman.
Good curveball from Phelps, and he's got a good fastball. Freeman's been late on his fastball.
Wouldn't surprise anybody if he goes back to it. Here's the throw. Freeman's going to send that one foul.
1,146 fans at tonight's game.
Yeah, eclipsing that 1,000 mark has been a constant for the Mavericks. High one to Freeman here. And the weekend games especially, those ones do the best because the weather is cooperated, and of course, not as many people have to go into work.
Be big if Freeman can get on here.
He is going to hammer this one into center field. Long way to go, and the play is made. Oh, my goodness. That sounded so sweet off the middle of the bat. And just great wheels from Carter Beck. Not surprising at all that he ends up on the other side of it.
Well, he just didn't get any bat or angle to that fly ball. He hit it too flat, and Beck didn't have to go far. Had he got it up in the air, a launch angle would have made a big deal on that one.
Jaden Babiak with 2 out. Tyler Vanesti waiting behind him. The mood in this game starts to shift if the Mavs don't get at least one insurance run here. And they have nobody on, and Babiak's behind.
Yeah, if they did, I mean, they've still got a 1-run lead. An insurance run or two would be always welcome.
Well, it's those names coming up for the Berries. Houston, Medina, and Roll. The 2, 3, 4 hitters in their lineup. 3 guys that are not easy to get out.
Well, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And the Mavs are in that position tonight to do just that.
Here's the throw from Phelps. Babiak won't challenge. Regardless of the result in this game, both teams will get to run it back tomorrow. One team will be hungry for revenge, the other looking to bank off of a strong performance. Babiak another foul off. And it's the one thing about baseball, the Mavericks have a 6-0 lead early. And unlike in hockey, where if you have a 6-0 lead, it's kaplunk. We've seen so many times, especially in the WCBL, that is a lead that is very unsafe. That one gets away from Phelps and then slips out of the glove of Sorensen.
No lead is safe here in Athletic Park, is it? Whether we're up or down, or the other team's got a big lead, or we have a big lead?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. The Mavericks have yet to... The only word that comes to mind is choke here, as Babiak will swing and miss. But they have given up lots of runs and allowed another team to catch up, and that's just what the Berries have done tonight. And Phillips putting them in a perfect, or Phelps rather, putting them in a perfect position here to go ahead and get it. They got 3 outs to play with. Let's see if they can avoid the wrath of Diego Centella as he enters this game. We will be right back with what is sure to be a great one. Closing it out. So apologies for getting the wrong pitcher. Centella has pitched a lot lately, so I'm not sure why he was the first one that came to mind. But the pitcher is wearing sleeves, except it is Luke Barrientos looking to close things out here at Athletic Park. But he's got a tall task. He'll start off with Nathan Houston, who swings and misses at Barrientos' first pitch of the night. Abiam Medina is on deck, and waiting in the hole is Mason Roll.
This is a perfect place for the Mavericks to be. They've got a one-run lead. They're facing the middle of the order, and let's see what they can do. This is the challenge that they have to be up for the rest of the year.
And if we take a moment to flash back as Barrientos steps forward and gets another swing and miss from Houston. The Mavericks were in a similar spot playing in Saskatoon, their second game of their trip out there. A tight one that ended up going to extra innings, and they fell. This is the chance for them to erase those demons and those memories from that game and have confidence against the Berries going forward, and it's a swing and a miss. Houston is down, and the all-important first out belongs to Luke Barrientos via the strikeout. Mavericks now 2 outs away.
And you got Medina up, and he's a dangerous hitter.
Only one homer on the year, but that came tonight. So we know he's got the power in there somewhere. Can Barrientos put it around him? First pitch is low. If he's an option, would it surprise anybody if this is the spot that Murdoch comes in? The answer is I don't think so.
They wouldn't. I don't think they're going to bring any of the big guns in unless there's guys on base.
Medina, a swing and a miss. Fans are starting to make some noise. Hands being clapped. And seats being kicked as that one is low at the feet of Medina. And the count is to 2-2. This one is poked out. It's going to be a long run. And the play is going to be made by Micah Dvorak. A real solid hit up in the air from Medina. He placed it. But the Mavericks outfield just too quick. And I think both Freeman and Dvorak would have been able to get there in time.
Good communication, because that could have been a collision out there. They were both going hard. It was right in the gap. And it hung up just enough for Dvorak to call off Freeman and make the catch.
And sometimes in key situations, in tight games, is different scenario. But we saw with the Blue Jays back when they played the Mariners in the playoffs, Springer and Bichette running into each other on a play like that because it was two guys trying to make the game saver. It's good to see that the Mavericks put the emotions aside and made the right play. Barrientos is going to start off Roll with a strike. And now he's got another. One strike away as he steps off the mound to collect himself. A bouncer is going to roll fair. Long play to first, and he's there in time. A sneaky ground ball as Venesti went charging on. It was going to take a bang-bang play, and not much you can do there.
That was one of those plays where I think Venesti might have thought it's going to go foul and hesitated a little bit on it, but nevertheless it was going to be a single. Roll got down the line in a hurry and just beat it out. Even if Vanesti would have charged it, it was going to be bang bang. So Barry's still alive. Runner on first.
And Jalen Freeman, the right fielder, comes up to the plate. Barrientos over to first. He's going to check on Roll and make sure he stays over there and doesn't allow him to get into scoring position here. Barrientos was one strike away. Throw to Freeman is going to miss. There is a body warming up for the Mavericks just in case. They will hope that it doesn't get to that point.
Same with the Berries. They've got somebody warmed up. Freeman is 0 for 4 tonight. He struck out his last time, but that was against Dole.
And in the words of Wayne, he'd say that he's due. There's a strike from Barrientos. Wayne, I know from your perspective, you don't want me to use that on the team that, and I'm just speaking for you.
Yeah. It's only to be used for our guys, for the Mavs.
1-1 count. Barrientos gets a swing and a miss. Looking to turn hard on that one was Freeman, and it fooled him.
That might have just about hit him. That ball was so far inside and low, but he got it in a perfect place, landing right on his back foot.
Barrientos, another chance to claim one strike.
Roll
Freeman
like
at the
he's
plate.
going,
Runner
and
going
now
to
he
go,
is.
and
Yeah. He was faking last time to see what was going to happen.
and a good play by Roll too. Confuse Barrientos a little bit, get him second guessing, and maybe throw his pitch off. And the result of that pitch shows that it might have worked. 2-all, 2 out, man on second. A base hit could tie it. A strike could end it. Here's Luke Barrientos. That throw is going to miss, and the count is full. So now a difficult spot for Barrientos is you want to put one down the middle and challenge him, but you also don't want to give up the hit that's going to tie this thing.
Oh, I think Barrientos is in control here.
Here comes the throw, and it's going to miss. So the baton will be passed again for the Berries. Barrientos has had plenty of opportunities to shut this thing down. Couple of 2-strike counts, and he has not converted. Balin Sorensen, the catcher, now up. What a comeback this would be for the Berries. Down 6, down to your final strike twice. You get a slow roller over to third base, survive that. Seems whatever is thrown their way, they're able to conquer it. Barrientos peels that one aside.
Sorensen has got 1 hit on the night. He's walked twice, scored twice.
And there's a strike from Barrientos. Count is 1-1. This is what you asked for, folks. Game of the night tonight, and it has brought all of the hype and more. Down to the wire. 2 heavyweights throwing haymakers. Here's the throw from Barrientos. Both runners going to go. This one popped up. Chabot will not have a play on it. That one right in our backyard here, Wayne.
Yeah.
I think more importantly here, both runners will go back to their former bases.
Yeah, we're not holding the runners at all. And you've got to focus as a pitcher. You got to focus on the hitter.
Is the third time the charm for Luke Barrientos. 2 strikes to the hitter Sorensen. Just 1 ball. 2 out, 2 on. Quick look off by Barrientos. Here comes the throw, and it's low. Right on top of it is Chabot.
So you don't want to go to full count because then the runners are on the move. So to me, this is where Barrientos has to come in with a good pitch.
The lights are bright.
Whatever you're going to throw in full count, throw on this pitch.
Let's see who prevails. It is going to be sent out over into left field. Runner's going to come around third. And we have a tie ball game. Ice water from Balin Sorensen. And we are knotted at 7 in a game that could have been ended on 3 separate occasions. And Barrientos couldn't land the knockout punch. And the Mavericks and the home crowd absolutely stunned. They thought they had the Berries dead to rights from the beginning of the game. And now the Berries with a chance to take the lead.
Yeah, good at bat for Sorensen. He hung in there and got a pitch a little bit up in the zone, and he didn't miss it. I think the runners are looking to go again for Saskatoon.
Here's one fouled off by Evan Janner. And can Janner play hero now?
Janner's had a good night. He's 2 for 3, 2 singles. Sack bunt in the first inning. He's also walked. So I guess he's 2 for 2.
Runners are going to go. Chabot thought about throwing. He'll let them get there instead.
Yeah, it was
probably the right call. You don't want to throw one wild and then have the leading run come around. Especially in a count that Barrientos is up in once again. This will be his 4th try with 2 strikes.
I've got a count of 1-1, but it could be 0-2. I thought that last pitch was a ball, but
long wait here from Barrientos. This one is crushed down towards Morrison. He catches it in his belly, holds off Luke Barrientos, and taps first. We are even at 7. What a top of the 9th it was. It looked like Medicine Hat had it, and the Berries came out of nowhere and snatched it right out of their hands. Balin Sorensen with the RBI base hit, and that sets up the stage for the Mavericks here in the bottom of the 9th. Or will we need extra innings tonight to solve this one? The game probably deserves extras. The Mavericks feeling like they deserve another win.
We haven't had a walk-off yet this year, have we?
Well, walk-off hit by pitch a couple of times and a wild pitch walk-off, but not a walk-off hit.
Not a walk-off hit. So we're due. And we got a new pitcher on the mound for the Berries.
So a short day for Phelps. And we'll look at who they have up there when we return. Tyler Vanesti already hit one far tonight. He could use another one here in a tie ball game. Bottom of the 9th inning. Mavs and Barries square. This one hit up in the air. It's got lots of jump, carrying to the back wall, and it is going to drop. Vanesti rounding for third. He's got the wheels on, and high throw as he's in. It ricocheted off the Mavericks dugout. They're saying the game's over. There's no call that's been made by the umpire.
No, it was still in play. When it hits the netting in front of the dugout, it's still in play. And Vanesti took a chance because a good throw from a relay throw from the shortstop would have had him at third. But out in right field, he lost the ball. Freeman, I think, lost it up in the lights.
Well, off the wood, it looked like that thing had a chance to go.
Well, it's a triple.
And Carter Roth, is it time for him to have his first big Maverick moment? He's had lots of hits. He's driven in lots of runs. This would be the biggest one yet with Vanesti over at third.
Well, the infield's playing in, obviously, and so is the outfield. The outfielders are way in.
And another strike to Roth. And wouldn't it be a moment only scripted by Walt Disney if we get to Johnny Volcano, who's waiting on deck? Struggled all night long. He's back. He's known for his clutch moments in a Maverick uniform, and maybe a chance to get another. Roth is going to send this one over into right field, and it's going to drop. Vanesti hustling in to score. He slides. He's in.
There's a walk-off hit.
Ball game. Carter Roth gets it done with a single into right. And the Mavericks, that is 10 straight in their home barn, undefeated. And this time they do it in style against the league's best. My, what a game. You don't often get treats like we saw tonight. And boy, are we fortunate that we get to see these two again here tomorrow.
Yeah, that was quite a game. That's a walk-off. Kudos to the Berries. They came back down 6-0. They tied it in the bottom of the top of the 9th, and then, hats off to our Mavs. They were able to pull out the victory against a very good team. And Carter Roth, 3 hits, 3 RBIs tonight. Good for him.
And we usually
Vanesti, way to start us off. It never got to Johnny Volcano.
It never got to Johnny Volcano, but I think he will take it.
Yeah.
And we usually send to a commercial before our post game, but I think it's only fair for a play like we just saw tonight that we go straight to it. So welcome into Mavericks post game, quicker than you usually receive it. And Wayne, a crazy start to the day for the Mavs as they put up 6 early, and it looked like they were going to run away with this one.
Yeah, it was all Mavericks to begin the game, and then we could kind of feel that the momentum was starting to move a little bit towards the Berries dugout, and then they broke open with 2 back-to-back innings of 2 runs, and that made it 6-4. We went ahead 7-4 in Vanesti's home run, but the Berries didn't quit. 2 runs in the 8th made it 7-6, and another run in the 7th made it 7-all, and we were able to scrape out a run with an 8-7 victory. I thought the pitching really took over after Hudlow had a great outing tonight, 5 innings. He left when we were up 6-0. And, I just thought he had an outstanding game. I'm sorry, it was 6-2 when he was taken out of the game. But Saskatoon Berries, their pitchers came in after Tronston kind of couldn't get things going in his direction, and their pitching was outstanding as well. We never scored until the 9th inning after Vanesti's home run. Kudos, both teams. The fans got their money's worth tonight.
Yeah, if this is what we're going to see in the playoffs, because it very well could be. These are the heavyweights, as we said, not only in the WCBL, but in the East Division. It is going to be a fun time come August. But we'll stay in the present. When you look at maybe what the needle mover was tonight, the performance from Max Hudlow in comparison to the performance from Tronson. That was the biggest difference. The Berries starter couldn't go as far. Hudlow
Yeah.
ate up some innings, and he didn't allow a lot of hits and just the 2-run homer. And looking back at it now, that was a fortunate thing for Medicine Hat.
Yeah, AJ Dahl, I thought he was outstanding. He came in and threw a lot of fastballs, and Barrientos, unfortunately, had that slow roller in the 9th inning, and then followed by a walk. And, Saskatoon, they don't quit. They got a clutch single to tie it when they needed it. And, we got another tough game tomorrow against Saskatoon and then Moose Jaw. And I know right now it kind of looks like Saskatoon and the Mavericks, Medicine Hat, are the two heavyweights in our division, but let's not count out Regina and Moose Jaw. They're going to have something to say with what's going to happen by the rest of the season as well.
Well, they had a great battle last night as well. Wayne, any thoughts before we do get to tomorrow's game? I know there's some weather concerns in there that we might want to mention for fans who are maybe listening and coming to tomorrow's game or are going to tune in at our regular time of 7:05, and then what we can expect from both teams coming off of what was quite the match here entering tomorrow.
Well, are you asking me to talk about the weather for tomorrow?
Well, mention both.
Yeah, well, if we're going to look at the weather for tomorrow, it does not look good. Like this weekend, up to 60 plus millimeters of rain, and that's supposed to start tomorrow. And, this field holds water well, and there's a great crew to get water off the field. But if you get, 3 or 4 inches of rain, we're not going to see any baseball this weekend. Now, hopefully we can get the game in tomorrow. It's supposed to rain. I'm just looking at the forecast now, 8 millimeters of rain later on in the day, so that could be tough. And then all day Saturday rain. So we might not play tomorrow. Let's hope that we can get the game in. Even if we can get in 5 innings, that would be great. It would be a complete game. But, it doesn't look good for the weekend, Truman.
Yep, and we will see if that holds true. We're always hoping for baseball, and we're always hoping for great games like the one we saw tonight. Was it a crazy finish as Carter Roth, with a beautiful hit into right field, scores Tyler Vanesti, who almost hit one out to begin the bottom of the 9th. And the Mavs, they just do not quit. Every time they're down, they get back on their horse, and they continue to ride. That's what we saw again tonight. So we'll see if we have another result similar to this one tomorrow. We obviously can't hope for it. But one thing that we do know for certain is the Mavs have won 10 consecutive at Athletic Park, and they continue to chase down the all-time record for most wins at home to begin a season. That does it for tonight. And as always, for Wayne Slosher and myself, Truman Bartman, this one has come to a close. And although this one was really great, we still can't wait to see what the next one brings. Take care, folks.